Hello, fire goddesses, and welcome to episode 83 of the Reclaim Your Fire podcast. I'm your host, Angela Noel, and today I have a very special guest, Cassie Biltz, on the podcast. But before I introduce Cassie, I just want to invite you to download my free survival guide, How to Maintain Inner Peace During the Breakdown of a Relationship, on my website at AngelaNoelInternational.com. In addition, you will also find another free ebook for you to download, the affirmations and journal prompts for starting your day. Both of those resources are completely free, and you can find them both on my website at AngelaNoelInternational.com. And without further ado, I am so pleased to introduce my next guest, Cassie Biltz. Hello, fire goddesses, and welcome to another amazing episode. My name is Angela Noel, and I am your host of the Reclaim Your Fire podcast. Today, I have a really amazing guest that I'm really looking forward to introducing you all to. We have been chatting on and off for, the last month or so, and I was on her podcast recently, and now I have the honor of having her on mine. So, fire goddesses, I'd love to introduce you to the amazing Cassie Biltz. Hi, Cassie. How are you?
Hi, I'm awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. I can't wait to talk to you.
Yes. Can't wait to nerd out about all the things.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I love nerding out. And we were talking offline before I pressed record, and we're interested in a lot of the same topics. So, but before we go on, Cassie, I would love if you could just introduce yourself to the audience, tell everybody who you are and how you help people.
Yeah. So I am an entrepreneur, and I started my first entrepreneurial venture 6 years ago. So my background, my traditional background, traditional, so to speak, was as a speech language pathologist. So, I followed the normal 9-to-5 path and checked off all the boxes and graduated with honors, and I landed the quote unquote perfect job. And I really joined healthcare because I always knew I wanted to be a healer. I wanted to help people be healthy. But the traditional medical path was not for me. So I became a speech language pathologist. I worked in the medical setting. My first job right away was in a skilled nursing facility. Anyway, I made great money at the time, but I felt like I was dying inside every day because, to put it lightly, because I just felt like this isn't healthcare. This is sick care. I'm not helping anybody. I'm enabling people. I'm in a system that's completely corrupt, not to go there, but I could go there. It was just highly unethical. And I really felt really, really, really like I was not living my purpose. So I went to school for 6 years, and I only stayed in that career for 2. So that was a long journey to a career that I left very quickly. So about 6 months into my career as a speech therapist, I actually started my first business because I was kind of looking for something that wasn't out, basically. So I became a virtual health and fitness coach, built that business to 6 figures, and I still have that business and I still work it and I love it. And so I've been doing that for 6 years, but now that's kind of like that business kind of runs itself at this point because I've been doing it for so long. So really what I do now is I help established female entrepreneurs who are stuck at 6 figures reach the 7-figure level through subconscious reprogramming, energetic work, shadow work, all the things that are, important, like basically building their business from the inside out. Because so many women, including myself, get stuck at just below 6 figures or at 6 figures, and they get stuck there spinning their wheels for a really long time. And then what they tend to do is go into massive action mode. Like, well, if I'm not getting there, I need another strategy. I need another training. I need another product. I need another course. I need to go do. And that was me. And then they get burnt out. And so what I really help them do is realize that it's not about what you're doing. You're already doing enough. Trust me. It's about, there's something going on in your subconscious. And that's kind of what we can talk about here. That's essentially blocking you because you don't get what you want in life. You get what you are at a subconscious level. And so that's what I help women do. I help them shift that. And then I also teach within that energetic sales and marketing. So long story.
Love. All right. I can't wait to dive into subconscious reprogramming, but I would just like to, there's a few things that you said in here that I wrote down that I feel that will speak to many of the identities of the audience. First of all, you said right away, you were in the system and you were a box checker. And that's one of the things that I talk about in the podcast is burnout. And, a lot of times people don't realize they're in burnout because they think of burnout as like more of a physical condition. But I often talk to the box checkers, the ones who think I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything correctly. And I'm checking all the boxes. Why am I still not making the money? Or why am I still not feeling good? Why am I still in burnout or have migraines or whatever, whatever form of burnout it is? Because I address it as a mind, body, and spirit problem. So I find your story so inspirational too, also as somebody who had an acupuncture practice, left I waited much longer. I mean, I actually loved what I was doing, but I remember you saying in another interview, Cassie, that, you felt like you were just, and I was wondering if you could just talk about that. You felt like you were just working on the surface of just treating, you weren't helping, you were enabling, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just in general, our medical system is extremely corrupt. I mean, I think everybody knows that. I would think so at this point. It's not a secret, right? But when you work in it, it's just so toxic. Yeah. And I just immediately, I was, maybe 3 months into my career as a speech therapist, and I was supposed to be healing people, helping them heal, talk again, heal from strokes, be able to swallow again. And everything I did was to make money. Everything they wanted me to do was so I could bill insurance. And even the tools that they gave me in grad school to heal people were not effective. Even I could see that. I was like, this isn't working. This woman who had a stroke, she's not going to learn to talk from what I'm doing. I know that I'm wasting my time. And it was so frustrating to me. It was so frustrating because even back then I didn't know anything about what I do now. I didn't know anything about the subconscious mind. I didn't know anything about energy healing and the work that I do now and how the body can heal itself. All I knew was this clearly isn't it. Yeah. And y'all are going to walk around and act like you're, being affected. And I do want to say speech therapy is an incredible therapy. And there are modalities that work incredibly, incredibly well. And there are speech therapists in the medical setting who it's needed. It is absolutely needed. Yeah. It was just, in my experience, number one, I think it was probably the setting I was in and the people I was working around. And number two, I felt like if this isn't my passion, how could I possibly be helping this person as much as they deserve to be helped? It's not fair for me to work with them if this isn't my passion. So what I've found with the speech therapists I know who are amazing at their job, they're highly passionate about it. And I feel like when you're passionate about it, yes, you're probably really good at it, right? But that just wasn't the case for me. So I don't want to assume that all therapy is a waste, because it's not at all. It is so needed and so great, but it was just, for me, it wasn't my passion. And a lot of the things that I've had to do in that particular job setting were not ethical in my opinion. And I just couldn't do it anymore. So. Yeah. And I just feel like your story will speak to some people out there that maybe are in jobs, right, where they entered the field because they wanted to help. And now they feel trapped, and which I feel like is a really good segue to what we're going to really talk about next, which is subconscious reprogramming. Because even offline, we were talking about how subconscious reprogramming is kind of the missing link when you feel stuck, right? When you feel stuck in your job, or when you feel stuck even in a business that you're not totally digging. Mm-hmm. And you feel like there's no other way out and you're in your safety net. So I would love to just dive into that, Cassie, if we could. And, I'm a big fan of it, but maybe you could just let the audience know, what is subconscious reprogramming? So let me start by explaining a little bit about the subconscious, because wherever your listeners are stuck in life, whether it's a relationship, money, business, this is what is so pivotal to understand, and that traditional personal development doesn't teach, which is where I got stuck, because I was doing traditional personal development. And I was like, I do the things, I make the vision boards, I goal set, I plan my year. and I'm not getting anywhere, and that can be very frustrating and also lead to burnout. And so what I finally learned was that we don't always get what we want in life, but we always get what we unconsciously want in life. Always. And that was really shocking to me, because I remember learning about this and being told, whatever you have in your external reality, that is your subconscious identity. And that is what you hold in your subconscious. That's what you want subconsciously. So you can say consciously, well, I don't want a bank account on empty, and I don't want this terrible marriage, whatever it is. But there is a subconscious reason you have that. It's because at a subconscious level, that is what you desired, but you're just not aware of it. So that was a real wake up call. And that's kind of where the healing work comes in. But if you don't know how to communicate with your subconscious, or you don't even know what it is, what's that quote by Carl Jung? He says, oh gosh, pregnancy brain. Pregnancy brain. Until you make the unconscious conscious, you will, how does it go? Do you know what I'm saying, Angela?
I do, but I would have to do a quick Google search.
Until you make the unconscious conscious, basically you'll walk around making choices, thinking that you're creating life, but really you're not creating life. Basically, life is happening and it's unfolding automatically. So that's basically how it works. And so the subconscious mind is the largest part of who we are. So to speak, because the conscious mind, the part of us that can think and analytically answer questions, remember things, which apparently I can't do during pregnancy, because I'm 29 weeks pregnant right now.
My goodness. Congrats.
That's only, less than 5% of our mind. The subconscious is the other 95%. So it holds everything, and it remembers everything we've ever heard. It remembers everything that's ever been said to us. It can remember things from when you were in the womb. It does remember what happened in the womb. So learning to tap into the power of that is really what can allow you to transform your life.
So what you said, I love that you brought this up, because a lot of people are going around saying they're living lives that they don't want, right? They're not making the money. They're with the wrong person. And they're like, of course I don't want this. How can I say this? Most people would be really surprised, I think, to hear that they actually do want it. And I love the way you said that, because they are wanting it from, like, it's a very buried subconscious story. So I'm just curious to know, like, where do those, and I talk about this on the podcast a lot, but where do those stories come from? Like, and why do they why are we not aware of them until we're aware of them?
So your unconscious mind, or your subconscious, they're synonyms, are developed from the time, really from when you're in the womb, and, really before that even, but we'll just keep in the womb until you're about 8 or 9 years old. So that is when your analytical mind starts to develop, your frontal lobe. But until then, you're just a walking sponge. Everything that's said to you, you absorb. So that is when most of our subconscious beliefs and paradigms are imprinted within us. So whatever your parents believed about money, that tends to be what you believe. Whatever you saw them have in a relationship, that tends to be what you have within your subconscious as an imprint for a relationship. So that's where those beliefs come from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of an example that's really, really common so people can get it. Like, so for example, if you are, say, you're just stuck at $70,000 and you're like, of course, I don't want to only make $70,000, right? In my business. Mm-hmm. But deep down, you want it. So that could be an example of a story, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want this. Of course, I don't want this. But in the background, there are these stories going on, such as, I'm never going to get ahead. Like, this is never, like, we all have those days of despair, right? When we don't feel great about our lives, right? But what subconscious reprogramming does, if what I'm hearing you say is, it's an opportunity, right, to reprogram that story, even if we don't really hear it actively all the time. Yeah.
So the first thing we do is become aware, which is why it's so good to work with somebody, a coach or somebody who can become aware of what's help you learn the tools so that you can become aware of what's going on in your subconscious. And so what's interesting, I actually recently had a client who wanted to get past, a similar example. She wanted to get past 6 figures, but same thing. You could say 70,000 a year. She's like, I don't understand. I want this so bad. I know this is what I want. And I've tried year after year and I'm stuck. And so what that means is there's something happening subconsciously where that is what you want subconsciously. And what it came down to was she had a belief that money isn't safe, because when she was a little girl, something happened with her mom, where her mom, long story short, found out she borrowed money from a friend and just totally laid into her. I mean, put the fear of God in her over this borrowing money. And so through working together, we got to the bottom of that story. And what her subconscious picked up was money isn't safe. If I have money, I'm going to get in really big trouble. I'm going to be scared, because she was like trembling, and, her mom dragged her up the stairs to the point where her feet were off the floor. I mean, she was scared. And so your subconscious, its job is to protect you. So it will keep that belief, it will install that into your subconscious mind as a safety mechanism, because it really thinks that story is serving you. So there can be a lot of different reasons why somebody's stuck at 70,000 a year, and they can say, I don't want this, but it's looking at, okay, but there is something going on there. Once you know what it is, awareness is the beginning of all change. So once you know, okay, that's, her story was money is not safe, then we can release that. You can release that through hypnotherapy, through EFT. There's all sorts of techniques you can release it. And then you can just, like you said, basically reprogram. We're like computers. We can just install new programs in place of those old beliefs that aren't serving you. The other thing I will say is that for every pattern that plays out in our life that we don't want, we actually get something from it. And a lot of people aren't aware of that or don't want to recognize that. So I'm trying to think of an example. I have an example from my own life that I'll share. So I had this subconscious pattern that I wasn't aware that I was doing this, where I had to claw my way to success. Okay. So I would always say, I don't want to have to work this hard. I don't want to have to hustle. But subconsciously, in a very deep place that I wasn't aware of until I did this work, I actually got a lot from that. I got a lot from it, because I got to feel really, really powerful. And I got to show people, you think I can't do it? Watch me. I got to show people like, oh, I can do this. You said I can't do this, and I get to do this, and I will do this. I had this very proving energy about me. I played out through my whole life. And so even in high school, I barely graduated. Couldn't even get into 4-year college because I had such bad grades. Yeah. And I was like, perfect opportunity, right? Claw myself out. So then what did I do? I overachieved. I got into 4-year college and grad school. I graduated magna cum laude. Like, I will show you. Same thing with my first business. My first year struggled, couldn't get anywhere, but then that pattern played out. I will show you. And it was like, I don't want that pattern to keep playing out. I don't need to have a struggle story to have a victory story. I can just like skip that struggle part and just go, but you know what I mean? So I would say anything where there's a pattern playing out, there's some sort of secondary benefit that you're getting from that you don't maybe want to own up to, or you don't want to recognize yet.
And like you said, with the benefit, like so many people, I think, overdo, especially women, overdo and overachieve because they have been rewarded for that behavior in the past by society for, the Energizer Bunny type person, right? Like, oh my gosh, how does she do it all? Right. And that is, that is a reward. That's external validation. And that proving energy that you talked about earlier. Like, I think so many of us, myself included, I no longer have it, this feeling like I got to prove something to somebody, to my family, to my friends, that I am successful. Because like you, you talk about the grades. I also struggled a little bit with my grades, and especially like later on when grades were supposed to be important, right? To go into college. And so I remember after I graduated feeling like I had to prove this thing because I didn't do so well in school, right? I wasn't like an academic, like so many of my friends were. And it wasn't until fully becoming aware that, hey, this is something that's going on nonstop in my mind. Awareness is absolutely number one, like the number one step. And then you can do something about it. So
Exactly. Yeah. And once you're aware of it, then you can begin the integration. And I think it's important that when you're recognizing these patterns, to really, this is going to sound weird, but embrace that weird pleasure you're getting from it and let it be okay. Like
Yeah.
don't abuse yourself. It's not like when you find a pattern, you're like, well, you piece of crap. How could that's not effective.
Yeah.
Shame is that pretty much, I'm going to say, a useless emotion, and it's not going to help us get anywhere. So as you notice patterns come up, it's being deeply compassionate towards yourself so that you can integrate and you can, upgrade that part of you or reintegrate and then reprogram something that is going to help you get where you want to go.
And I just want to mention too, because I feel like, with our wanting everything now society, that this could potentially, it may not, because I feel that change, like once you have that, have that awareness, you have the desire and the commitment, it can actually happen really quickly. But for those of you listening and you're noticing overwhelm, or you're noticing
Mm-hmm.
my invitation to you is just to realize that, being kind to yourself is the most important thing when you're changing, because sometimes it takes time, sometimes it doesn't. Everybody's different. So I wanted to just mention that too. So people who are, they're like, yes, I want to try subconscious reprogramming. What is it? What is enough? What is it specifically? How does it work? Is it scary? Is it weird? All the things that people usually ask.
Great questions, because it sounds scary. Subconscious reprogramming.
Yeah.
It's totally safe. And the wonderful thing, or maybe it's not so wonderful, but the reality is we are always being programmed all day, every day. So people think that this is something that's not already happening. And I hate to break it to you, but if you watch the news, it is. If you are, it's called paid programming for a reason. If you sit down and watch the news every night, your brain goes into a brainwave state similar to hypnosis, and you are absorbing, you are being programmed. Same thing when they call it highway hypnosis. If you've ever been driving down the highway and you just kind of zone out, that is actually technically a form of hypnosis, because all hypnosis is, which is one of the modalities I love to use for subconscious reprogramming, all it is a slowing of the brainwave state so that you can kind of slow your brainwaves down, relax your body, and then you can get to the subconscious mind. Because when you're in your waking state, walking around talking, your brainwaves are going a lot faster. There is a part of your brain that will basically put up a giant brick wall to any new beliefs, any new information, anything that doesn't fit with your current model of reality. It'll just kind of like ping, nope, not here for it, So the reason we use hypnosis, or I love to use hypnosis, is because it's just relaxing. And then that wall basically, to make it really simple, that wall kind of falls down and you are able to get to the subconscious and you can give it new programs, new information that are going to serve it. And, hypnosis and meditation are actually exactly the same. The only difference is your intention. So with meditation, your intention is to quiet the mind or communicate with spirit, whatever kind of meditation you do. And then with hypnosis, your intention is to actually reprogram, to tell your mind what you want it to do. So that's the only difference. So if people are afraid of subconscious reprogramming, it's happening all the time. It's just, do you want to be a conscious creator or do you want to be an unconscious creator? I'd rather consciously create.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And, I feel like so many things, like I think about how acupuncture is often displayed in movies and stuff. It's always like the needles, like all over the head, which is not accurate at all. And hypnosis is often played out kind of in a bad way too. Well,
so bad. So not even remotely. I saw there was a new show on Netflix about somebody, being hypnotized and having their hypnotherapist do these terrible things. And I'm like, great, because this is just total BS. It's not even a possibility. It's not even in the realm of reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything is like so sold, sold, right? We're being sold certain concepts. And I feel like, up until maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I thought hypnosis was, this thing where it was stage hypnosis, right? Like it's a show, and that's just entertainment, right? Are you going to actually pay for tickets and watch somebody go into hypnosis as it actually looks, which is you're basically yeah, what does it look like? If you're just laying there, right, and getting
Yeah.
comfortable.
Well, that's a great question, because with stage hypnosis, that's what a lot of people think of. And what I want to explain about that is all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So anytime you work with a hypnotherapist or even listen to a hypnosis audio, it's just guiding you. It's just, that's my job as a hypnotherapist, is just guide you in the process, but you're the one hypnotizing yourself. So when it comes to stage hypnosis, the reason that works is because those are the kinds of people who want to do that. They want to be the center of attention. Maybe they're the kind of personality that's life of the party. They want to be on stage. If they didn't, they would go down. And that's why you see hypnotherapists tapping people's shoulder and be like, okay, go sit down. It's because they're not going into state. So, there's really no fear, because there's no ability to control or brainwash. Like, that's just not a thing at all.
Right, because you can totally, like again, like you said, it's like meditation. It feels similar to being in a meditative state. You can wake up if something doesn't feel right. You can wake up. You're not like trapped in this hypnotic state.
Yeah.
So,
and if somebody, your subconscious mind is highly, highly ethical, and it's also going to protect you. So if I were to work with somebody and they guide them into hypnosis, and then say something like, tomorrow you're going to wake up and push an old lady in front of a train, just random example, they will immediately come out of hypnosis, because their subconscious mind is going to go, no, it's not going to accept something that's unethical or that would harm themselves or another person like that. Unless that's something they really, really want to do. But that's really, 99. I don't think that's what most people want to do. And even then, I don't think that would be a suggestion that would work, So if there was ever a time you're in hypnosis and something was suggested that you didn't comply with, you would just come out of hypnosis, just like you come out of meditation. Or if anytime you're watching a movie, you're basically in hypnosis, and, you don't go act out the movie. Right. So
true.
There's a lot of protective mechanisms going on to keep you safe, basically.
Yeah. So for the goddesses listening, and we'll go into a little bit like how people can do this. It is definitely something worth trying if you are not happy with where you are in your life. So if people are, they want to try it, they can go to a hypnotherapist or do you consider yourself a hypnotherapist or a hypnotist? Because I know I've been corrected by saying hypnotherapy.
I'm a hypnotherapist.
Okay.
That's what my certification is in. So what I always tell people is, if you have very, very deep trauma, I would recommend going to an actual hypnotherapist who specializes in deep trauma. I don't work with women on deep trauma. That's just not what I focus on. But there are people who do, and they're excellent. But if it's more everyday kind of things, or, let's say you're struggling with anxiety, confidence, you have a money block, you're struggling with going on a date, anything more superficial that's not deep trauma, you can just get amazing audio tracks for. I create them for my clients and the people in my program. You can go online and get some. They're fabulous. They're fabulous. I actually recently used a $15 hypnosis that I purchased from somebody, because weirdly enough, I don't like listening to my own voice in hypnosis. I can't get into it. It's like, it's weird. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go get this hypnosis. And it was for fertility. I had struggled with getting pregnant for almost a year. And then when I did, I miscarried twice. And I was like, why? I don't know why it didn't occur to me to use hypnosis in the first place, but I got a $15 track, and I got pregnant very quickly right after that. And it's, now I'm 29 weeks pregnant. So you can use it for all sorts of amazing things. And I use it a lot for self-healing. I used to have sinus headaches all the time. All the freaking time. And now I very, 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 very rarely get them, because I did, 2 little audio tracks on healing sinus headaches, and I'm fine. So, those little annoying things that you have, those aches and pains, those are also great things to heal with hypnosis. Another modality I love to use with my clients is EFT, emotional freedom technique, which you probably know a lot about, but it's basically tapping on the meridians. Yeah. So there's different modalities you can use that will tap into the subconscious, which EFT also does that, and a lot of people don't realize hypnotherapy is actually a type of energy work, just like emotional freedom technique and tapping. There's a lot of different ways you can program the subconscious. It's just about finding what works for you and what you feel you enjoy.
you're such an amazing resource, Cassie. Thank you for sharing what you've shared. And so I love how you said, because when I had my acupuncture practice, I had primarily a fertility practice. I mean, I would say like 80 to 90% of my patients were patients who were trying to conceive with acupuncture, and acupuncture works amazing with fertility and pregnancy. And I love how you used hypnosis or subconscious reprogramming to get pregnant. I find that to be so like inspirational, and just how you mentioned like the physical conditions and like basically almost anything. And like you said, some things require maybe more of an expert, like trauma, like, you know, trauma can be a little bit challenging.
Say the other caveat is like, obviously you can't hypnotize somebody to become an incredible singer if they can't carry a tune with a, you know, they can't carry a tune at all. So, you know, or grow a limb all of a sudden. I mean, maybe you could, I haven't heard of that being a thing, but hey, it's possible. I don't, as far as I know, that's not what hypnosis is for. But yes, just about anything. I'm actually getting ready to finish up a course in hypnobirthing. So I'll be using it for my next birthing experience. So yeah, people use it for birth, you know, going to the dentist. Yeah. And fears, phobias, it's great for fears and phobias. So just about anything. Yeah.
Just about anything. And I mean, I know I've been doing it now for pretty consistently for like 2 years and 3 months. And it has changed my life when it comes to like speaking up, using my voice, self-confidence, self-worth, which is the foundation of everything, and getting out of fear. Like you mentioned, phobia is just a lot of fears around growing my business, making money, because I too had a lot of like limiting beliefs that were very, very, very subconscious, that even today, like I'll be journaling or in hypnosis and realize, oh my gosh, I still have this really deep seated, like, where did that come from? I thought we've gone through this already. So it's such an amazing tool. And
isn't that interesting? And the great thing is, there's a quote and I forget who says it, but he says, if you're not getting what you want in life, it's because you're out of rapport with your subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't even know what their subconscious mind is, let alone how to get in rapport with it.
Yeah.
Once you're in rapport with it, it's really interesting because it's almost like this relationship you have with yourself, but also divinity, because you also have access to divine mind or superconscious mind.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is things will come up when they're ready to be healed. You know, if you're working with a hypnotherapist and you're working with them on a trauma, for example, one of the things they'll often tell you is if something isn't ready to be healed, it won't come up. You probably won't remember it. It just won't come up at this session. So yeah, we're like onions. We're always going to be peeling layers. And that's the beautiful part of life. We're always going to be learning more about who we really are and realizing that everything we thought we were, we're really not. And that's the journey of our, you know, our souls here on planet Earth. But that's part of the process. And so there's, just today I was thinking about how I really struggled to be on time. And I picked up that pattern from my dad. And I know, I'm aware, like this is something I'm working on. And then I had this realization pop up from my subconscious that said, oh, Cassie, you like being late because you like the rush of the adrenaline you physically get when you have to hurry somewhere.
Yes.
You know, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Thank you for that. Because you're so right. I do enjoy it. I can say all day long, God, I really wish I could be on time. Like, why is this so hard for me? Because it is a challenge, but it's because there you go. I was getting something from it. Now that I'm aware of what I'm getting from it, I can choose to shift that pattern, or I can just enjoy the fact that I like the adrenaline of being like, you know, I like the rush, and I'm like always there in the nick of time. And it's, you know, it's definitely a pattern for me, but anyway, yeah, your subconscious will bring things up the more you peel these layers back to be looked at again and healed and released. And it's just, it's a beautiful process, really.
I love that. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have heard this before. Like you mentioned earlier that, you know, 95% of our brain or our mind is subconscious. And growing up, I remember hearing in school, like we only use a very small percentage of our brain, but it was never explained. Like, what does that mean specifically? Like, and I always thought it was something that was more like, you know, prefrontal cortex thinking, like, you know, what can I do to strengthen my brain? But since really diving into the subconscious, I get it now. Like, it's a matter of diving into the subconscious. So for those of you listening that are really struggling, even if it's like, your day-to-day stuff, like remembering things or being late, or if there's like a certain habit that you're really looking to shed, you're not able to shed, it comes down to really changing your identity, and subconscious reprogramming is such an effective tool to do that. So, oh, I love this conversation. So I'm just curious, as far as your work and how you help people, do you have like a favorite case of when you use subconscious reprogramming with a client to help them get what they wanted? And what were the results?
That's such a good question. Well, the most recent one was the one I described a little bit ago, because after we removed the money block around money isn't safe, which we removed very, very quickly, she signed up a client for like twice her normal charge very, very easily 2 weeks later, which is very common. The shifts happen quickly. And I think sometimes like some time, but sometimes it doesn't. And I think if we hold the belief that change is hard, change takes a long time, then that will be what plays out in our reality. I know that's a belief I had for a long time. So with a lot of making shifts, it's really fascinating how quickly things really change for them. Another one, I was working with a client, a lot of the things I work on lately have been money blocks, because I work with entrepreneurs, and they want to attract more money. And she also was struggling with charging enough. She just simply couldn't seem to raise her prices. And so what came down, we got to the root, because that's what we want to do. We want to get the root. We can treat the symptoms all day long. Oh, take this course on how to raise your prices, use this strategy, add more bundles to your offer, include more value. Those can be great, but it probably isn't going to solve the problem if the root of the problem is something in your subconscious. So for her, we dug around a little bit and very quickly realized that it was just a matter of self-worth. I'm not worthy of charging and she was severely undercharging, and not able to provide for her family the way she could. And so we just did a quick, for her, we did a hypnosis session, and then she messaged me a week later, hey, I doubled my prices, just signed up a client. And so one of the other things I teach is energetic scaling and marketing and sales. And in terms of energy, what's really powerful is when you create that shift, you also create an energetic shift within yourself and within the field. So you kind of raise the standard of what you're willing to work with. And so you'll also start to notice that as you set that energetic standard, let's say you change your standard to, I only work with clients who pay me this much, $2,000 a month, whatever it is. Once you can get behind that, you can work with that. Your subconscious mind and conscious mind are on the same page. That actually shifts your aura. It shifts your energy. And all of a sudden, you'll start to attract those people who can pay that. Now, does that mean you won't also attract people who say they can't afford it? You will probably. But that's when you have to stand firm in your new worth, in the value you've created. And then that's when you become an energetic match in terms of energy to those higher end clients.
Yeah.
So, because that's another piece of it. If we keep getting clients that we don't want, and we're like, I don't understand why I keep tracking victims. Well, are you choosing to continue working with them? Because every time you say yes to a client, you're sending a strong message to the universe that this is what I'm willing to settle for. So of course you're going to keep getting more.
With entrepreneurs specifically, and business owners, when they're saying they're just not attracting ideal clients, or they're getting victims, et cetera, et cetera. I feel that, and I definitely noticed this with when I had my acupuncture practice and in my acupuncture community. Oftentimes it's so tempting, especially if you're a new business owner, to just bring in whoever wants to come in, right, and do these deep discounts and all the things. And it's totally understandable, because for many people, especially in helping professions, we're not taught how to run businesses. So it's like just getting the people in the door. But I think you're putting yourself, maybe if you do that and say you're only going to do that for like a set amount of time, and then that's it, and then you got to pay my regular price. But if you continue to do that, it continues to affect your self-worth, and you're going to continually attract these, I call them PITA clients, right? Pain in the you-know-what clients. Yeah. And what you just said, I think is really beautifully stated. Really, it comes down to deciding you're going to change your identity using subconscious reprogramming. charging your worth. And then if you still get those people filtering in that don't want to pay it, it's an opportunity, right? To really hold that boundary. Like, this is what I'm no longer willing to tolerate. And it's all part of the self-growth process, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it takes practice. And when we make choices from a place of scarcity, we create scarcity and we repeat a cycle of scarcity. And I did that for many years in my business. So I totally relate. I would be like, why do I keep attracting these people who are victims? Well, because you're letting them in. You're the one who's signing them up. You're the one who's allowing them to give you their money because you're in so much scarcity. Oh, well, I need clients. Oh, well, money's money. Oh, well, they want to, I can help them. I can help them. So why not? And then it took me so much longer than it should have to realize I was always the only problem. And if I didn't want victims, I had to set that standard and say, no, I'm not willing to tolerate this anymore. It is draining my life energy. I'm not serving you. I'm not serving me. And once I did that, do I still get people like that? Of course, we all are going to get people like that, but it's a matter of just not making choices from scarcity and saying, I'm choosing abundance. I'm going to trust that the right client is going to come, the perfect client for me, or whatever customer, whatever it is. And I'm going to not, it's tempting. Trust me, it's tempting to just take that money. Money's money, but it's not worth it. It's just not worth it.
And that also trickles into trickles down into other areas of our lives, even just paying bills. For so many people, they go online, they pay their bills, and there's this, I definitely experience this, where there's this oh my God, like all this money is leaving my bank account, right? And that I just want to share with the goddesses listening is that's also living from scarcity mindset. So even when you pay your bills, what are little things that you can do every day to change your identity around money and change your identity as to being this abundant goddess who attracts whatever it is that she wants out of life. And it comes down to just everyday little habits. Like, I am somebody that attracts abundance into my life. When you notice that like cringy feeling, like, oh, I'm not comfortable paying this bill. No, I am so grateful that I have $1,000 right now to pay this bill, which gave me a service or an item or something that has made my life better. So thank you so much for bringing up scarcity, because I feel like so many people unconsciously live in scarcity every single day and they don't even realize it.
Yeah, I definitely did. And I'm sure, and I know there is where I have to grow in that space, but that'll always be the case, right? Because even if you are earning, multiple seven, well, you're always going to have desires. So who says you won't want to go to the next level? So that's the beauty of the path is trusting that it's going to unfold and you can enjoy the process a little bit too. We're always like, well, I need to get there. I need to heal this. I need to fix this. And it's like, but also when you get there, there's just going to be the next place and the next place. So just kind of enjoy it while you're on the journey. I don't know how I got on that topic, but
no, it's a great topic. It's a great topic. And that's something that, I think we could definitely do another episode on that if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So Cassie, for those listening and they're like, I really want to get into hypnosis, I really want to reprogram my mind, what do you recommend for the listeners? Where should they go? And also, where can they find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah. So if my website is cassiebiltzcoaching.com, and I have a free money hypnosis on there and CEO meditation. So if you're an entrepreneur, you're in business at all, the meditation series is really good. It has a soulmate client activation meditation, a walking meditation, so we can get up from our desks and clear our energy centers. And then there's also a money hypnosis on there, which would be great and tips for anybody who wants to work on their abundance mindset. So that's a great place to reach me, or Instagram at gratefully_Cassie. And then in terms of other resources, I'm trying to think of any really great books I would recommend. The Power of the Subconscious Mind is if you just want to do some reading, because I'm a huge fan of, I love reading, Angela knows. That is a really great place to start. That is a really great start.
That's a great one. Yeah. And also I want to mention too, hypnosis downloads. And I recently purchased Harmony. I saw you said something about it on Instagram.
Those are the two I use. The Harmony app is fabulous. I want to say it's like $50 a year. Or don't quote me on that. It's very inexpensive though, but that has some great hypnosis sessions. Yeah. And then the hypnosisdownloads.com. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are two really good ones that I use also. So Cassie, thank you so, so much. I'm so grateful. You're such a light in this world. I'm so glad that you are helping people and the goddesses out there just step into their abundance and step more into who they truly are, because we all are that light. We all have that light shining within us, but sometimes we just need a little bit of we need some guidance to find ourselves.
Yeah, we all do. So thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. And if anybody listening wants to chat, just DM me. I love talking to people. So my inbox is always open.
Thank you so much, Cassie. And to goddesses, thank you so much for listening. Remember to always be radiant, be powerfully authentic, and know that you can reclaim your fire at any time. Until next time, take care.
Bye.
Hi, this is Angela Noel, and thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have found value in listening to this podcast, I would be so grateful if you could kindly share this podcast with those you care about. Please help me spread the word of empowerment and possibility and expansion by sharing this podcast. Or you could also leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Remember to follow me on Instagram at I am Angela Noel, or you could go to my website at www.angelanoelinternational.com to learn more about my work and to find out how you can work with me. Thank you very much.